Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Ray. We have videos today from Alexander Grace. Hold the line, man.
Can we talk about when a guy makes a girl pay, or he doesn't open the door for her, or he's just not being a gentleman and he's like, well, you wanted equality. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? We wanted equal rights, like women should be able to vote and stuff. What? That's literally it. No one asked to pay for anything. No one asked to open their own doors or carry their own suitcases. Don't be manipulative like that. That's crazy. Don't flip it on us like that. Are you
Gaslighting is master class.
kidding? Are you kidding? We wanted to be able to speak and have a voice and get jobs if we wanted to. But please, that argument is so crazy to me. It's really funny. I'm like, oh, you're stupid.
No, we're not stupid. In fact, we're smart. We're smart enough to see what you're doing. See, what you want is the benefits of equality without paying the costs. It's like you said, the freedom to work if you want to. But that kind of picking and choosing, that's not really how responsibility works. When men ask for fairness and equality, you say that men are trying to flip it on you. But how exactly? This is just the logical extension of your own stated values. Maybe
You're just as good as me. You can make as much money as me. That's what you wanted. Actually, a lot of women actually make more money than men nowadays. What you wanted. Just can't get those men to pay for you because they make less money than you now.
Maybe that's why it upsets you so much, is your own ideas are getting used against you. You want the privilege, you don't want the accountability. And it's always so interesting when women, they say the quiet part out loud and she's like, we never asked to pay for stuff ourselves. And she thinks men are stupid. Why exactly? Because we're not falling for this? I think that these women, when she says, are you stupid? I think that women, they have a difficult time conceiving of the possibility that a man could actually disagree, like truly on a principled basis, disagree with feminism. No, you couldn't have a principled moral objection to this ideology. You don't have a counterpoint or a rational, logical argument that would refute the claims that I'm making. That's impossible. Absolutely not. They can't believe that. And so the assumption is always that you don't understand feminism. You don't really get what the true definition of it is, what the movement is really about. You're just too...
It is funny that they always seem to think that we don't understand them, like what they're thinking and how they're trying to say things, but they definitely don't understand us, but they say they fully understand what men want.
Stupid to really understand feminism. That's the real issue.
Let me read it to you. The feminism definition is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of sexes. That's literally just saying like, hey, like, wow, we can vote now. Thank you for letting us vote. Like, wow, like maybe, equal pay is nice. Wow, thank you for acknowledging that. It's not saying, F you, don't hold the door open for me, don't pay for my bills, Jeremy, don't do this, Jimmy, don't do this, Johnny. Like that's not what it's saying. So there's a misconception with feminism versus misandry. Misandry is the hatred of men, you guys. So do not get those things confused, please. It is not, that's not a good thing. I want to be in my gender role, more or less, because I am a feminist, because I believe in my femininity, because that's what I want.
Now, I'm sure that she's going to say that I'm too stupid to truly understand what feminism's actually about, but I hate to break it to you, feminism and misandry are exactly the same thing. I don't want to hear anymore about how feminism is just about women's rights and women's advocacy. I don't want to hear you say that if men get left behind or if men are suffering under this feminist system, that that's just accidental, that that's not intentional. No, I don't want to hear it. That male suffering, that is intentional. The misandry is feminism. Feminism at the absolute core of its ideology demonizes men. It hates and blames masculinity, patriarchy. Men are the oppressor class. That is its identity. It is misandry through and through. And what's more, I can prove it using 3 tests. Test number 1, when feminism was presented with a neutral alternative that didn't require the hatred and demonization of men, Did they take it? Test number 2. When feminism became aware of male suffering, did that cause them to stop what they were doing or make any changes? Or did they double down? And test number 3, can feminism as an ideology actually function? Does it make any coherent sense without men as an enemy? I have no more time for excuses. You fail these tests and you are done. First of our 3 tests. When women were presented with a neutral, non-man-hating alternative, did they take it? Because you see, there's no inherent issue with a woman's advocacy movement or ideology. Men and women are different. 99% of people understand that. And so as a distinct group, to have an ideology or a movement that advocates for their interests, that in and of itself inherently is not problematic. The issue is that feminism is actually a very specific ideology, and the tragedy is that it has completely monopolized the role of being an advocate for all of women's issues. But feminism wasn't the only choice, absolutely not. Women had lots of options. What about egalitarianism? Equality for all people regardless of sex. You could have advocated for women under that ideology. Or what about chivalry, where men would be duty-bound to look out for women's interests? What about equal opportunity advocacy, removing institutional barriers for all individuals, including women? Or even a different branch of feminism, which sadly died out in the 1970s, difference feminism, that acknowledged that men and women were different and advocated for women's specific and distinct needs, but manages to achieve that advocacy without the demonization of men. I go into detail on each of those 4 different ideologies and movements and what society would have looked like if women had chosen that as the vehicle for their advocacy, kind of like an alternative history. I go into that in part 2 if you're interested. But my larger point is this, is that women had a lot of options available to them. There are so many paths that they could have gone down.
But there wasn't even a need for feminism in the first place, right? Like, that was the thing that most women didn't care for. We watched a video not too long ago about Australia, and they were asking women what do they think of National Women's Day, what do they think about women's movement. Like, they don't care, like, whatever.
Where they could have advocated for their own interest without making men the enemy. Men and women could have cooperated. We could have collaborated. We could have supported each other.
Like,
we could have made
history?
progress as a team and celebrated each other's victories. How nice society would have been had we chosen that. How different, how pleasant, how wholesome. And instead, we get this.
Or all the men that say, have you ever thought maybe you're the problem? Have you ever shut the up? Have you ever thought that maybe you're the problem? Did you know, sir, that if all men were obliterated right now, that women would feel so much safer and so much happier on Earth? Did you ever stop to think that maybe being emotionally unavailable is the problem? And I can't stress this enough. You're all roaches!
I am serious when I say this. Do not tell me that hating men is an accident of feminism. Don't try that shit. Every single time that there was an opportunity to use neutral language that didn't specifically go out of its way to demonize men, feminism rejected it. This is not an accident. This is planned. The rallying cry isn't teach consent, it's teach men not to rape. The phrase isn't we must end intimate partner violence. It's we must stop violence against women. We don't speak about condescension, we speak about mansplaining. They don't say take all claims seriously or believe all victims. No, they say believe all women. It's not objectification, it's the male gaze. It's not ambition, it's the male ego. And that person over there, that individual, they're not angry. No, they are a man and he is displaying toxic masculinity. Every time a neutral term was available, feminism chose the gendered version. At every opportunity, they made sure to insert male villainy into our language.
Yeah, it's just like the woke kind of liberalism kind of thing, always injecting race into everything. It's always injecting gender into everything.
And of course, this has a very predictable impact on the way that little boys grow up, hearing about masculinity and men always in such an explicitly terrible way. Which of course brings us to test 2. When feminism became aware of the suffering they were creating for men, did they stop? Did they take responsibility? Did they make any changes? Did they even show any basic recognition of the problem?
I'm sure they just pranced around like, finally. That's what you guys get.
Let alone compassion for what men were going through. Or in a truly sickening display with zero empathy, did they double down and actually take men's suffering under feminism as proof of their own success.
Sorry, not to be a hater, but the male loneliness epidemic, who fucking cares? Oh, yeah, what are you guys going to do now? Pew pew up a bunch of schools? You already do that. Oh, you going to unalive your wife and kids? You already do that. You're going to terrorize nations? Already do it. Start a war? Did it. Destroyed economies? Did it. Destroyed democracies? Doing it now. We're not afraid. And now you guys are just lonely and we're still not afraid. So, sorry. Male loneliness epidemic, get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm not going to get the fuck out of here.
You know, they say all this until all the men literally turn violent and want to do whatever they want, and they can't do anything about it other than beg.
I'm actually going to stay.
I'm not saying I'm advocating for that or anything, but it's just like, that's how it used to be in caveman days, and how men can do whatever they want. That's why you needed the good men to protect you from any of the other men, because strength?
Exactly where I am, because as much as you would like to, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to sit right here and continue to advocate for the interests of men. I'm going to continue to show compassion for men, because you sure as shit aren't going to do it. Feminism doesn't give a fuck about men's pain. To them, that's a victory. That's progress. Yes.
Like, I don't even try to focus on our pains and things like that. I just try to focus on what can we do better as ourselves, right? Like, because there's no need to complain all the damn time, in a sense. I guess this whole channel is complaining, I guess. I don't even know.
Men are lonely. Men are struggling with rejection and dating. Many men are depressed. They're coping with substance abuse. Male suicide is high. Workplace deaths are high. Male homelessness is high. Men are struggling in employment, in education. There are many men struggling in abusive relationships or with child custody issues. And there is zero plan from feminism to help with any of this. The combative model of power struggles that is inherent to feminism means that this is a good thing. This is something to be celebrated. It's a victory for them, a victory over the enemy. And at the risk of repeating myself, please, I hope this is obvious to you. You are the enemy. Men are the enemy. And that makes sense when you understand how women like this, how feminists conceive of male psychology, what they imagine men are actually like, what they think.
Men have gotten a free pass to gaslight and use women. Throughout all of history, you have basically owned us. We have been owned by you. We had no choice but to be your wives and have your children. We didn't even have the opportunity to use you guys and to gaslight you because we didn't have autonomy or freedom or privileges at all. Women are going to have to start playing the same way men have been playing. And guess what? For the first time in human history, we actually have a little bit of power and enough privilege and enough resources to do that. It's too late now. Sit down and take your talking to.
No, I have zero interest in being lectured by you. The value of your words to me is to demonstrate how ridiculous your ideology is. The feminist conception of history that men kept women as slaves, that women were owned by men, that men just inherently hate women and like to use them and to keep them down, that's fucking psychotic. That's not how men thought. This is complete projection. You are arguing with ghosts inside your own head. But it makes sense when you truly believe that. Why, when women see men struggling, they celebrate. This is the colonized overcoming the oppressor. Feminists imagine that when men see women succeeding, that we must hate that we are like insecure and we're like seething with resentment. That's how they imagine men are thinking. And they're so self-involved that they can't even understand a male advocacy movement, because they're not thinking. That's how deep their blindness is to men's issues. They're not thinking about that. They think that men's advocacy is just a ruse, like a dog whistle or a mask in order to try and strip women of rights. It's just a cynical ploy. There's no way you could actually care about men's suffering.
I mean, yeah. Like, throughout the videos that we've gone through, how feminists really kind of view and talk about us, it seems like Alex is right on the nose.
No, that doesn't matter. No one cares about that. People only care about women. You just must be trying to keep women down. That's what your actual agenda is. You see, when you're this self-centered, it's actually effortless. It's really easy to make everything about you.
Yeah, because every argument you would use, they're like, what about men? What about women? What about this? What about that? And it's just like, both things can be true, right? Like, not everything is bad, but not everything is good.
But then, of course, they don't care about male loneliness or male suicide or men's struggle with substance abuse or any of that stuff.
It's kind of sickening that they celebrated, though, Alex. That's pretty disgusting.
Depression? No.
Like, I don't celebrate women getting killed, getting mauled or something. Like, even if they got mauled by a bear, maybe I'll chuckle at the headline or something. But it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, that's what she deserves. I'm like, oh yeah, that fucking sucks, you know? Like, at least I don't think most men would. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe men past that point of even empathy for women.
That's not a problem. That's proof of progress. They actually think that the reason why men have mental health issues is because we're all just so angry and insecure about the gains that women are making. How can you argue with it? You know, how can you even engage with something so moronic? My daughter is 5 years old and I teach her reciprocity. I teach her how to make deals, try and find win-win situations. And she gets it. It's not difficult. But then why is my daughter, who's 5 years old, seemingly showing a more evolved and mature approach to human relationships than adult feminist women who are still stuck in an ideology of zero-sum power struggles? In order for me to win as a woman, you have to fail as a man. And it's so frightening because this is the ideology that's running our fucking society. The worst.
Men fail, great for society. I'm gonna be the better leader. It's kind of not doing so well.
World is crazy. But of course, if you ever do actually get a woman to concede that, you know, men actually are struggling, that men are going through some pain, they have their own issues, worry not, because feminism has an inbuilt excuse, ready-made and packaged, to explain away any responsibility that they might have for causing that suffering.
You men are struggling. And this is why I actually can't believe that men aren't against the patriarchy, because you are suffering in the patriarchy. You are drug addicts in the patriarchy. You are committing suicide in the patriarchy. You cannot talk about your feelings because of the patriarchy.
The patriarchy. It is a magical, mythical thing capable of being so many things at once. You know, at the same time that it's our terrible, toxic past that we're desperately trying to escape from, it's also simultaneously the present that we are currently living under, while also being the nightmare future that we have to avoid at all costs. You know, we have to vote the right way in this coming election, otherwise we could return to a patriarchy. But I thought we were in a patriarchy, or I thought that we've escaped from the patriarchy. It's everything. The patriarchy is all powerful, all present, and it is responsible for everything, including men suffering. The truth of
the way Alex did it. It was such a kumbaya fuck man.
Of course, is that we do not live under a patriarchy, we live under feminism. If you compare the values of feminism with the values of patriarchy, nobody could reasonably claim that our culture resembles anything close to a patriarchy. Which actually brings us to test number 3. Can feminism as an ideology actually function? Does it make any sense without having men as an enemy? Spoiler alert, no. It
Makes
can't.
sense.
Feminism cannot function without an embedded, permanent male guilt. Why do you think that the patriarchy never dies? It's this eternal boogeyman that's immortal. It's everywhere. It's in all time. It will never go away because it can't. It is structurally integral to feminism. Feminism, you see, explicitly exists in opposition to patriarchy. And men are the supposed privileged beneficiaries of that patriarchy.
These things off, and I wrote them down to make sure I don't forget it. You don't care about mandatory paternity tests. You don't care about paternity fraud. You don't care about male. You don't care about equalizing hard, laborious jobs outside. You don't want to equalize that. You don't care about what happens to people that are falsely accused, which is almost always exclusively men. You don't actually care about the declining school performance, the rise in ADHD diagnosis, and the medication, the psychiatric medication that comes from it. You don't care about the lack of homeless shelters for men. You don't care about the weaponization of the family court, the equal custodial rights, reproductive say for men, reduction in child support and alimony, pathologizing of just men and masculinity in general, negative attitudes towards even men that want a nuclear family. You don't think or care about any of these things.
And that's never going to change because, like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is not incidental, okay? This is not an accident. It had to be this way. Feminism does not create male suffering as a mistake. It is a necessary ingredient. The demonization and discrimination of men is baked into the foundation. Feminism structurally cannot acknowledge male victimhood without inherently undermining their own framework. The architecture of feminism cannot accommodate.
That's why they've never acknowledged our suffering. They've just said, oh, but we suffer more. It's just like a battle of who's the more victim. And we're not trying to be victims. We're just trying to say, shit happens. And a lot of it happens to men.
Accommodate men's suffering. If it tries, it will collapse under its own weight, which is why they don't try. It is not neglect. It is not indifference. It is a structural dependency upon male guilt. None of this harm to men is incidental. Feminism requires men to be the villain. This woman said that feminism and misandry are different things. They're not. And here's the thing. This is the part that's important. I'm not saying that you or women who identify as feminists are themselves misandrist. I'm saying that the ideology that you structurally depend upon is, by its nature, misandrist. The very architecture...
I don't know, Alan. There's a lot of women that just hate men because... maybe it's because of the ideology, but they truly do hate men, though.
Prevents win-win outcomes. It doesn't want cooperation. It doesn't want harmony. It wants a kind of mythological battle where the victim is always struggling against an oppressor, but also never wins, but is also clearly winning. Feminism as an ideology requires men, requires patriarchy, requires masculinity as a permanent scapegoat. It needs a kind of, disposal bin to throw away all the fault in society, to channel it towards men. This woman and every woman out there who identifies and sincerely believes in feminism, at your core, you're probably not a bad person. No baby is born guilty. But the issue is that we keep putting healthy individuals inside of a toxic environment. Every new generation that's born as a clean slate, healthy, heaps of potential, but we put them in a toxic environment with a toxic ideology, and then we're surprised when they turn out toxic. Ladies, feminism has lied to you. Men are not the enemy. We are your partners. We want to cooperate. We want things to return to balance. And feminism has destroyed any potential of balance. This ideology, this movement, it needs to die. I'm not saying get rid of women's advocacy, but you've got to do it in a different way. Because guess what? When men lose, you don't win. We all lose. We're in this together. That should be obvious. Is that not obvious? Speaking for myself and other people, like other men who are critical of feminism, I want you to know that I'm not your enemy. I don't hate women. I love...
It's like I watch my family thrive and flourish throughout all the years because husbands and wives work together. They work together to work the damn family business. They grew the family business. They took care of kids. All the kids do pretty well. They all get education. Well, some get educated, some go towards family business, but it's such a wonderful thing when you come together and build family. You build business, you build industry, you build community.
Of women. I love femininity. I love you. I will happily support any woman's movement that advocates for the rights of women because I want you to succeed. I just won't do it inside a framework that is a zero-sum game that requires me to lose for you to win. That is not acceptable. I won't have it.
It's just sad that men want to cooperate more than women do. Right? And then men have always cooperated because look at how nations work. Look at how wars start and end and do all these things. Yes, there's been shitty wars throughout all of history, but there's been a lot of cooperation and a lot of trade, a lot of globalization where everybody agreed, let's work together. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time.